Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Hi,
How are
everybody.
you?
Welcome. Episode 15.
Yeah,
Wow,
Yeah.
that's
How you
quite
been?
good. 15
yeah.
weeks in a row. Nice.
15
15 weeks in
whole
a row.
weeks. We
hmm
definitely didn't forget to schedule this one until the very last minute.
Not at all.
Definitely not.
No. Always fine.
Mm.
Always
Yeah.
good. All right. How we been? How's the week been? Carl.
Yeah. My week's been a bit of a blur. So my 5-year-old last weekend, it was last weekend. My 5-year-old is a bit accident prone. So we regularly attend the emergency room. So last Saturday she came flying into the living room, which is a wooden floor, slipped on one of the baby's toys, and went face first into a collection of toys and wooden floor.
Ouch.
So I run in and I heard it happen. I didn't see it happen, but I heard her clatter to the ground. And I walk in and there's just blood pouring from her mouth and her chin. And it's like, right, super. So, yeah, she busted her mouth up pretty good and got stitches and stuff in her chin. So, yeah, we're still dealing with the fallout of that because she's struggling. She had been struggling deep, but she's getting there.
Lots
But
of
yeah,
ice cream.
Yeah. Ben and Jerry's.
she
Oh, that's
yeah, but she's accident prone, so we've been trying to keep her from re-damaging it, and we've had a couple of close calls in the last week. It's like, will you slow down, stop running, stop climbing? It's like, so I mean that's made my week pretty much a blur. And work wise, I've just been prepping for being off now for a week and a half, which is good. So looking forward to just chilling out, relaxing.
nice.
And outside of work, when I've had a chance, still catching up on my CKA studying. So still in core concepts with scheduling and labels and selectors and node affinity and all that fun stuff. So pretty cool.
Nice. Cool.
Taints and tolerations in the
Yeah,
same section, I think.
that was the other thing I was trying to think of. Taints and tolerations. It's pretty cool. I didn't. I mean, I know I'm reviewing this again for it must be the third time I've sat down to study for the TKA, and this time it's actually it's jogging the memory, and you're like, oh, this is really cool. So that the
Nice.
taints and tolerations and the labels and selectors, I was like, you're working with the tech, and you don't really appreciate it. And this time when you're going over it, I'm like, oh, that's pretty damn cool. So yeah,
Sounds good.
that's been my week.
Killer Coda. Really good.
Yeah. The I subscribe to Code Cloud, so the guy that does the CKA stuff on Udemy, he has his own like training platform, Mumshad Manambeth, I think his name is. And he has some labs in there as well.
Nice.
Which are supposed to be pretty good. So looking forward to getting stuck into those as we progress. I think I'm trying to target sort of late October for the exam, so we'll see.
September.
Mate, there's 2 weeks left in September, and I'm off work for most of it. I think
More time to study.
My good wife would have me living outside if I decided I was studying my entire vacation. So, and I would deserve it. So,
Oh, nice. Well, be careful.
Yep.
Right.
What about your weeks?
Yeah. So yeah, mine's been a bit of a blur, but other reasons, not a child hurting herself. But I've done some GitOpsy kind of stuff, working out like the structures and whether using customized Helm or just straight manifests. Also done some sort of troubleshooting of Kubernetes ingresses and why all of a sudden at certain times of the day you're getting 400s instead of the right stuff, 200s. So it's been an interesting one and just getting lots of prep done ready because next week I'm off at Experts Live in Prague, which should be really fun. Yeah, how about you, Wesley?
Well, let's skip that part. Well, I came back from my 2-week leave. Well, I don't have to say anything else, right? It's always drama in the
lots
mailbox.
and
Like,
lots of emails.
it's like an explosion of emails.
Yeah.
So that
Have that policy where you delete everything that was sent while you were away, and if it's important, they'll resend it.
If only.
that works.
That works for the
Well,
ones, right?
No, another question: do you go back to Teams and then read everything that happened during your holiday?
I'm reading it during the holiday most of the
Yeah,
time.
that's I'm reading it live, which is really, really bad, and I
I
really
did
need to
not do that this time.
get into the habit of turning Teams off or uninstalling it while I'm away. But yeah, I have a really bad habit of keeping up with emails and Teams while I'm off, which is not great.
Hmm.
Don't
I
do
delete
this.
Same.
Outlook
Yeah,
and
don't do
Teams
it.
from my phone from during my holiday.
Nice.
It helps.
Maybe I'll do that on mine.
We
Yeah.
should.
Yeah.
It helps. I mean, you're off, right? When you're off, you're off.
Mhm.
The
True.
thing is that what I do when I come back, normally you get like crap loads of messages on Teams every day. Even when you have your out of office on, apparently that happens. I just do right click, mark as read. I mean, if I'm on a holiday, you can see I'm on a holiday, send me an email and I'll read it later.
Yep.
Teams is not Outlook.
Yes, that is true.
All right. But other than that, no, it's a good week. Started to cool down a little bit.
Yes.
Weather
Thankfully
getting
for
better.
me.
So it's good. All right. We should probably move on to the news part of this show.
Sounds good.
We should. I'm trying to find the thing. Oh, there's the thing.
There it
There we go.
is.
There it is. Alrighty then.
So
News.
first up then is a bit of our own news. We mentioned this last week, so we're in the next few weeks or month or so, we're going to be bringing out a new show called Cloud Native Conversations.
Mhm.
So that's a bit of a longer format show, probably about 45 minutes, give or take. And what we're going to do is we're trying to get to know the people behind a lot of the cloud native projects and behind a lot of the community work, but even more so. And sorry, DevRels, if you're watching, we want to get to know a lot of the people that are using this stuff in the wild and in the field. Hear their success stories, maybe hear their horror stories, but just get to know the people that are in the community, not necessarily wanting to sell us anything or have us use their project. I want to hear about cloud native tech in production and in the real world. So yeah, looking
Mhm.
forward to. We've had a bit of interest from some potential guests, so I'm looking forward to having some good conversations
Yeah.
with people.
We
Yeah.
want the good, the bad, and the ugly, not the marketing.
Yes.
I mean, it's all important, right? I mean, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because I mean, there'll be a lot of people. I mean, Kubernetes and cloud native tech is still, it's still on on that upslope or on ramp for enterprise adoption.
Yeah.
And a lot of folks won't be as into it and experience with it as people like us that have been using it. So those sort of conversations, the gotchas and and the real world experience is important to people. So looking forward to trying to bring some of that out and surface that for the community. Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
All right.
More
Next up.
next. Ooh.
Ooh,
Oh.
ooh, it's happening.
So my favorite obsession, if you've listened to the show for the last few weeks, is Cilium. Any time I get to mix cloud native and networking is a good day. So Cilium, the voting is open for graduation. To become a graduate project within the CNCF. It's been open for about 10 months. So it's been open for quite a while, but voting is now open and we're sitting at, they need 66% of binding votes and they have about 36, I think, at the minute. So still a ways to go, but
The voting's only been open like 3 days as well. So
Yeah.
that's really good going. I think we're going to
Yeah,
get
it
it
is.
done soon.
I mean, Cilium is the CNI. I mean, it's not just a CNI. Realistically, there's so much added on top of it. I mean, it is the it really is the go-to CNI and network observability product, right? At this point, or project. I keep saying product, but product it suggests we're trying to sell you something. But project, it's pretty awesome.
You talk about Cilium so much, not just during the show. What are the chances that if Cilium was a big thing 2-3 years ago, that you would now have a child named Cilium? I reckon the chances are.
I reckon he would.
Yeah, I don't know if my wife is watching, but I'm not generally allowed to pick names, so we don't have we don't have a Patrick or a Luke or anybody from Star Trek or Star Wars, So, because if I was allowed to pick names, we would definitely have a Patrick, or we'd have a Jean-Luc, or Obi-Wan.
Not even middle names.
Sorry, stuff is just happening in my head where I just start laughing about things we probably shouldn't say on the show.
So I'm not allowed to pick names. Although to be fair, I think 5 kids is probably it's time for me to stop. So,
that's an odd number. Make it an even number. Go for 6.
Yeah. Stop it.
And then you can name it this time. That's the only condition.
No, technically, transportation-wise, going from 5 to 6 probably easier than going from 4 to 5, 3 to 4.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Next up in the news, we have a graduation proposal which is not long open for KubeEdge. So KubeEdge, like it says on the tin, is a project for running your Kubernetes workloads on the edge in a sort of secure and reliable fashion. So if you're not familiar with it, check it out. And when the public voting opens, be sure to give it your thumbs up if it's something that you like or something that you use. What are you two giggling at? Oh, there she is. Richard, minding your business. Hang on. I figured my wife might have been in the comments, so yeah. Just for anybody that was wondering what those two were giggling at while I was talking, there you go. That's my good wife telling Richard to mind his own business. So
she's not wrong.
No, she is not wrong. So mind your own business. All right. Next up in the news, Dragonfly.
Another proposal.
Richard, yeah, another graduation proposal. So, Richard, do you know what Dragonfly is? It's not something I've used before.
No, I do know one of our good friends who's doing Up the Stack is trying to do a video on Dragonfly, so I'm waiting for that to come out to watch it, but not a clue. He did tell me, and it's just totally gone out of my mind. So yeah, we should probably look at that, but it's good to see that it's going for graduation.
Project for going for graduation. So I mean, folks are using it in the tech space, in the cloud native space. It looks like image acceleration and AI model distribution. So maybe we should do one of our 10-minute techs in a few weeks on what this is. We'll wait for our good friend Michael Cade to do it so we can copy him.
Yes, for sure.
There we go. Thank you, Wesley. What is Dragonfly?
Well, it is a open source P2P based image distribution system.
Thank you.
Just saying.
Okay. So it just helps you get your images around the nodes quicker, so you don't have to keep pulling them down from the container registry. So that's quite cool. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I can think of a few use cases we've come up against in the last year that might benefit from this sort of tech. So that's cool.
For sure.
Especially with scaling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, we should try this.
Definitely.
All right.
So for anyone watching, this is how we figure stuff out. We just Google it. You just don't see it. So I thought, put it on the stage. Let's see it.
Yep.
You gotta know how to Google and what information to trust and what not to trust. All right. So finally, in news for this week.
What a fun one.
Awkward. Yeah, it's a bit painful.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't have to be awkward. I mean, things like that happen. There's a CV privilege escalation, which obviously you want to fix as soon as possible. I think from what's documented now, it's not being exploited in the wild just yet. But then again, you still want to fix it as soon as you can. From top of my head, because we were dealing with that with it this morning is if you have node images older than July 15, then you probably need to update them as soon as possible. What makes it a little bit awkward is we are used to having way more information to go on, and it's a bit limited, but serious enough to act upon it.
And sorry, let me clarify. When you say July 15, you mean the 15th of July?
Yes.
Is that not the same thing?
Who knows? It might be the year.
Of this year. 15th of July of this year.
Sorry. July 15th.
Listen, Chasm, it's okay.
2023.
That gets me every time. Okay.
All right.
Back on track. So on that note on that CVE, if you do not patch your cluster by the 30th of October, Microsoft will patch it for you, and you'll probably get downtime. So make sure you schedule it in before then. Do it quick, please.
Like right now, please.
Yeah.
And
after this show.
In about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But also, if you're running node images from dating back to before July 15th, 2023.
Thanks, man. Appreciate the clarification.
Rethink your update mechanism, because we're halfway down September already. So probably something to think about.
Well, why are you talking about that? Maybe we should do a show on making sure you're, what update and maintenance windows and patching and that sort of stuff looks like in managed Kubernetes world, So it might not be a terribly exciting show, but it'll be useful when you come to be having to do this stuff yourself and keep making sure that you're up to date and not having to scramble when things like this happen.
Yeah. And I do understand that, you have plenty of scenarios where the application just isn't fit for, restarting continuously. You don't have the flexibility and the freedom to do that all the time. But this might also be a good reason to just pull your update or your maintenance window a bit forward and just do it. And while you're at it, update Kubernetes as well.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. 128's just come out. So if you can go up to that.
Planternetes, is it?
Yeah. Yep. Good name.
It is a great name. I think we should rename the entire project to Planternetes now.
Yes.
Anyway. yes, there are, but let's not discuss those here.
10 minutes, Declan. Let's move on.
Moving on. Quick.
All right. Ingress. We're going to talk about Ingress because everyone talks about it. And everyone who's getting started with Kubernetes is scared away by all the Ingress stuff that you can do. But to be fair, I don't come across a lot of clusters without Ingress controllers. Only very, very few, like very isolated workloads. Richard, not sure about you, but I think every cluster we run across is. What are we giggling at?
Rebecca's comment again.
Yeah, no. Yeah, we agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know whether it's a good. Sorry, Wesley. I don't know whether it's a good thing to have my wife watching these shows. So I appreciate you tuning in there, but sorry, Wesley. Carry on. I'm impacting.
We're keeping it civil, right?
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah, okay. All right. So back to Ingress.
Okay.
Oh, hello. There's more people joining. Hello, Daniel. Or Dan. I'll just call you Dan. Hello, Dan. So back to Ingress. I think probably almost every cluster you run into, you will need an Ingress controller. But then the biggest challenge here, and welcome to the world of open source and cloud native. You have a bunch of options. You have so many options you can choose from. And then the question is, which one do you pick? There's good ones. There's less good ones. Want to be nice about it. But yeah, so you do need the Ingress controller. I always like to make the reference or the comparison, like back in the day when you had those big data centers that you managed yourself. You would walk up to that 19-inch rack and you needed to patch something, or you need something to control all the traffic coming in. And what you would do is buy a router or a firewall and you would put the cables in. So depending on what you buy, whether that's like Cisco or HP or whatever you bought, depending on what you bought, you have a specific set of features that you can configure. Ingress control is pretty much the same thing. Now, there's a very, very nice document on Google Docs that helps you make that comparison for you. And what we do is we deploy an Ingress controller, which allows us to accept traffic from the outside world into the cluster in a controlled manner. That's why you want one. And then we can configure our Ingress objects or Ingress resource or whatever you want to call them, which is basically like the routing rules and the firewall rules that you configure on the firewall or router that you bought. What you can configure is, I think we can, there's already a link in the chat. That's very nice.
Yep.
Yeah, it's too big to put up on a banner. But, so what we have here is, a list of the popular or more widely known Ingress controllers. So we've got Nginx Ingress. I think I probably used that the most by far.
It's my go-to one.
Yeah, probably the default one. But then you also have other Ingress controllers that are based on Nginx. You can see that here as well. You've got Kong, Apache. You've got a bunch of them, and then you've got Ingress controllers based on Envoy or Envoy, depending on the mood of Richard. And you can see there's a very big list. But what's important is that you buy something, and now you're not buying an Ingress controller, because a lot of them you can just deploy to your cluster like Nginx, and if you it's fine. But you need to know what are you going to use it for, and we have a very nice list here. So, for example, support for HTTP, HTTPS, HTTP2, gRPC, and then we can just go through the list and see. All right, so it's there. It's in preview. It doesn't support that. Needs help. So not sure if it is supported. And then a lot of the things like needs help, like Azure Application Gateway, Ingress, and there's some manual configuration to be done. But there's just a very, very nice list to go through. It really helps deciding. Then again, 9 out of 10 times I see Nginx, or hope I pronounce it right. Traffic.
I call it traffic.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But then you also have Istio, and you have a bunch of them. But you need to make a decision on, which Ingress controller you're going to get. Then you need to install it on your cluster, and you can configure the Ingress resources the way you want it. If you have no idea which one you need, I'm just going to say it. Get Nginx. Start there. It's probably enough for you. If you were doing things like, service mesh, then you probably want to take a look at Istio. That's a good one. That could replace your Ingress. You're not limited to one Ingress controller in your cluster. Normally you won't, you don't want 1,000, but you can scope it to a namespace and things like that. If we then go to the beautiful Kubernetes website, there's also a very nice list of additional controllers that you can configure. They pretty much match what's in the Google Docs, but the Google Docs are a bit more detailed. Look at that, Karl, especially for you.
What, Citrix?
Oh, yeah,
Cilium.
There's a Cilium Ingress controller. I just want to have that mentioned. But there's a Citrix one as well. I have never used that ever. And there's the cat.
Yep.
And the cool thing is especially the more popular ones, they are really easy to install. It takes no effort at all. I mean, comparing it to back in the day when you needed to configure your router and log into it, patch all of that. We have Helm.
Yeah.
Go to the
Get
data
into the-
center.
Yep, get into the CLI, configure it, make sure you no shut down your ports, and then rack it, stack it, and make sure you plugged in the right cables into the right ports, right?
Used to have a special cable as well to connect up, and the Cisco ones.
And
how many times? the blue ones.
Yeah. Good times.
Oh, but remember that good old days.
Yeah.
Fine. I think traffic. I'm already saying traffic. I'm sure I'm seeing if that's in there because I played with that earlier.
There it is.
There we go. See, we go to the traffic website. Just gonna do getting started, quick start, Kubernetes because that's what we're using. A bunch of examples. I think install traffic. That's what we need. You can do it on Docker. We're gonna use the Helm chart. I already did this morning. Added the repo, so I don't have to do a Helm repo update. But all I'm going to do is this Helm install traffic. Ooh, it's already there.
You already installed it.
I didn't uninstall it. See, live.
You can't spell.
Helm. Oh, unknown. Come on.
You spelled uninstall wrong, I think.
Oh, did I uninstall? See, live on show. It's perfect.
There we go.
Oh, it's gone. We're going to do it again, and then especially for Karl, we're going to do something else.
Yes.
In a different namespace.
So we're going to do Helm install traffic. Now, if we do a kubectl get pods, we see that traffic is running. When I was browsing through, so now we have an Ingress control. Now we have a router. Now we can configure stuff. But I think it was here. Look at this.
Karl's favorite command.
It's got a dashboard. So we're just going to do that. Now we should be able to. I'm not sure if it's already up and running and all of that, but no, we don't need that. We need this. Here we go. We've got an Ingress controller and a dashboard.
Hey,
we're doing port forwarding.
Does Nginx have a dashboard?
No, it does not. So this is quite cool to see.
Look at your Go traffic.
I didn't know traffic had a dashboard, but I was quite surprised by that thing. That's pretty cool, actually.
Do you know what else has a dashboard?
Cilium.
Cilium has a dashboard.
Yeah, well, we're gonna talk Cilium. We need like
it's called Hubble. It's awesome.
Yeah, Hubble is cool.
Yeah, but, we need like 5 or 6 shows to talk about Cilium.
5 or 6 is not enough, dude.
Yeah.
50 or 60 perhaps.
And then we need a dedicated show just to have Karl share his excitement about Cilium. So
yes, like an after session, so he can just expand his But going back to traffic and the dashboard, I think the main reason it has a dashboard compared to like Nginx is because traffic's a bit more complicated to use because you have things like the routers, the service, the middlewares, whereas Nginx Ingress just has your Ingress manifest file and that's about it.
Yeah, it's traffic is a bit more elaborate. I think it's also used in bigger environments, or as Karl likes to call it, enterprise environments. Yeah, I just thought I mentioned. No, but it's but you can see it's still very easy to install. But we can just as easily go. We could do Nginx. Let's do that. And I've not tested this before. Well, I've installed Nginx before, but I've not done it through the documentation. So apparently this is going to create me an Nginx Ingress controller in the namespace Ingress Nginx. Should we just try it?
Yeah.
Yeah, YOLO.
Put this up on the Well, it does not exist. Installing it now. So, I
It's
mean,
doing
look how
something.
easy that is.
And look at that.
There we
It's
go.
done.
And this is what I like about Nginx.
Example Ingress object manifest, is it?
Mhm.
If we now have a pod running somewhere, and a couple of shows ago we did one about Helm and then how we went from an Ingress to a service to a pod. This is how you configure that. They literally give you the example. This is the manifest you want to deploy, API version, kind Ingress, give it a name. I have some rules. So if something is coming into www.example.com, route it to this specific service on this port number, and we're accepting traffic on path /. So basically, we're accepting everything, and that's what we have to deploy. If you want to do TLS or TLS termination, even if you want to do that, and there's examples for that as well. That's what I really like about Nginx. You can configure so much.
Mhm.
You can literally, well, I don't want to say hack your way through the whole thing because that doesn't really sound like a business thing you want to run in production. But I mean, it's Nginx, right? You can, whatever you want to configure in Nginx, you can pass as an environment variable. You can, custom scripts or custom files injected into
You can
Nginx.
discover the functionality quite easily by
Yes.
working with that sort of stuff. Yeah,
There's
discoverable.
literally, if you're using Nginx, chances are you really don't have to say no to a customer request, as in, is this possible? We're
Mhm.
using Nginx, so probably yeah.
Yeah, so
That's,
it's a good tool. And
yeah.
to make it even easier, they use annotation. So if you wanted to update the Nginx config file, you can actually just do it in the annotations and do server snippets, and it will configure that for you and everything like that. So they have made it truly easier to use, and the documentation is really nice as well.
Yeah, it is, and there's a lot of community support for Nginx as well. So even if it's not documented, you'll probably end up somewhere on a GitHub thread with all the, the examples that you need. So that's yeah. But
And then I've got one thing. I'm going to throw a spanner in the works now. So let's get rid of your screen and just go back to us so I can see your faces. So Ingress is going away probably at one point, and it's getting replaced by this thing called Gateway API, which is kind of like how traffic works in a way already, and others. So at KubeCon in, where is it, Chicago this year, there's a session which I'm really excited about for Nginx Ingress and their plans to support Gateway API. So even these current Ingress controllers are moving towards Gateway API. So it's something we should hopefully be able to do a nice show about soon as well, which would be cool.
Right. That'll be cool.
we could probably do that as a follow-up on this one.
Yeah, for sure.
And that new app gateway thing that you were testing, it's based on Gateway API, isn't it?
Yeah, so the Azure Application Gateway for containers.
ALB, we'll call it.
Yeah. That supports
App Gateway for containers, right?
that supports Ingress and Gateway API. So that's really cool to see as well. So if you're using Azure and you want to play with Gateway API, that's the best place to go start. It's really easy to set up. The documentation's good.
But are we expecting major changes and shifts to different technologies anytime soon?
Well, Gateway API, it will be the biggest shift change. So people will find they're starting to drop Ingress in favor of Gateway API, but they will find they can still use their Ingress controller. So in this one, Nginx Ingress, that maybe they're going to change the name. I don't know, but it will still support probably Gateway API. So like Trafic will support it. The Azure one's going to support it, and all the big players will support it. I think even Istio supports it already. Cilium, I believe, supports it as well. So there's ones out there. So definitely look at Gateway API if you are comfortable with Ingress. Start with Ingress and work your way up. There
was a good article. Unfortunately, I read it on Medium, but I'll have to dig out the link. That compared Ingress. Sorry. sticking your articles behind paywalls does not make me a fan. But anyway,
You still read it.
where was I? I still read it because apparently I got free. This is my
Oh, it
free
works.
read of the day. So
Ooh.
so there was a good article. I'll have to dig it out. That was comparing Gateway API with Ingress controllers and when you should pick one over the other. It's probably a year or so old now, so some of the stuff might have changed. But it was a fairly good read when you were trying to learn, why would I choose this Gateway API thing over the other. I'll have to dig it out and I'll tweet it later.
Sounds good.
Yeah, no, looking forward to that. Probably next show or the show after we'll talk about Gateway API.
Yeah, because talking about next show, next week, me and Wesley are not going to be around because we'll be at this conference or traveling back. So next week's video is going to be recorded as part of the Azure Back to School as well. So we got a cool video for that, which should go out sometime next Thursday if we record it tomorrow night.
Sorry, Dwayne, if you're watching, we'll get it to you soon.
Yeah.
It's done tomorrow night. It's done. All done.
Fingers crossed.
All right.
One take, right?
Yeah.
One take. We do everything in one take.
Yeah. Dan saying that it should be you by yourself.
I mean, I'm still on vacation next Thursday, so
yeah, I don't think the wife would allow that.
Why not?
I could come and sit here and just talk at you if you like.
Yeah.
Oh, that's you.
Talk about.
You can talk for hours.
Yeah, that's a problem, though. No, but yes. So we're not pulling focus away from Azure Back to School. Our content next week, our usual show next week will be the recorded session for Azure Back to School, which, if you're not familiar with it, is as it suggests, it's a month-long sort of multiple items of content, pre-recorded blog articles and stuff every day. Sorry, I see Dan's comment there about Azure Functions.
His sound just dropped. My sound dropped. My sound dropped, I think.
Did I stop talking? What a way to end the show, folks.
Yeah.
But anyway, check out Azure Back to School. Great initiative set up by Dwayne Natwick and Derek Smith. So yeah, check it out if you haven't done already. We'll be on it next week.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed. And I guess with that, we should say goodbye. And thanks everyone for watching this week's episode.
Awesome. Thanks everybody.
Yeah. Bye.